I'll second. Second.
Aye.
Okay, Corey, do you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. So it's unanimous. The agenda has been approved. We need to, I will make a motion that we approve the previous board meeting minutes. Anybody want a second?
Second.
Perfect. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so it's unanimous. The previous minutes have been approved. So under special business, there was no activity on the budget committee this month, so I don't have anything to report there. Krista, you didn't have any comments, did you?
Just that I wanted to, at some point with Cassell, get a profit and loss and a balance sheet, or will we still be using QuickBooks to get those reports?
We will be using Cassell for the budget.
Okay,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
we'll be
Bruce
able
and
to
I, sorry.
generate all the reports out of that instead of having to do something twice.
fine.
We'll be able to do customized reports as well that we could do some generalized ones, and then that they're like canned ones that they have in there, and then you'd be able to do some custom ones should we want to.
Okay,
Unfortunately, it's still a
yeah.
few months, so.
Yeah.
right. When you said that Keith was doing it manually, I'm like, no, there's programs to do that. We don't need to see it print out. But I wondered if Cassell was going to do that. He's just hit, reports, profit and loss, end of year, budget, whatever. And
Yes,
I
they're
understand stuff.
they're working on pulling everything from QuickBooks into Cassell as we speak.
Okay,
Excellent.
Okay,
Good.
neither Derek nor Mandy is here, since Mandy is no longer on the board and Derek hasn't made it. Is anybody aware of any recreation committee activity this past month? Bruce or?
No,
okay,
not aware of any.
Okay. As far as for the personnel committee then, the only updates I have is it's the personnel committee was we wanted to have a personnel committee interview the lawyers. So since Tony was no longer here, I was the last remaining member of the personnel committee. And so Jamie and Bruce participated with me, and we interviewed the candidates for the attorney position. And so we made a recommendation, and when we get to the business later on, we'll discuss that in more detail.
Sounds good.
Okay. I guess it is time, if nobody has any further questions about that, there'll be time to ask questions about the attorneys later. This is a time for public comments. We'll open it up if anybody has any public comments.
you can hit your the chat button on the bottom. Mine it's a little bubble. It says chat. You can hit that and voice any questions.
Okay, I'm not seeing any jumping up and down at the moment. So let's go ahead and move on. If you could, Bruce, we'll address the manager's report now.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, as we've been speaking, we had the election last Tuesday, and Jamie and Shauna kind of manned the thing along with our what are they, referee judges. But anyway, just welcome to Robin and Corey. I'm going to let Jamie fill you in on all the details, which she's going to do on her report, and I'll just leave it at that. And they did a really good job. I just want you to know that they were there for 16. One was 16, one was 18 hours on last Tuesday, a week from today, and not to mention all the lead up to that. That was there was a lot of stuff going on, and so anyway, congrats. They did a really good job, and I'm really proud of them. And as far as I can tell, it was flawless. We haven't had anything go wrong so far. So fingers are crossed, even though it's all done now. The next thing is the office. The new building, we're all done. It got final, completed. The contractor's paid. We got the loan signed. We've got the loan docs. And as I've indicated here, the loan was $347,000. We got it at a rate at 3.49. And our monthly payment will be $1,744.86. And that's a 30-year fixed. So I think that compares really favorably to the lease amounts you were paying. We're going to own this. The next item is Snowbird Court. We're putting in the water and sewer in there, and that's well underway. They've exposed both ends of the section, and they've got about 30 feet of pipe in there at the moment, and they're going to be rolling on that. They should be, done fairly quick, probably the end of the month. But anyway, Trevor's going to talk about that one too, so I don't want to step on all of his report. Sanitary sewer inspection or sanitary survey inspection, excuse me, that was looking at our water and stuff like that. We did have a few things that were wrong. We were aware of it actually beforehand, mostly having to do with record keeping. There were a few other small things that were relatively small, although one of them did get elevated because we had missed a couple of inspections. So it went to a, what do they call, level 2 or something instead of a 3. So in that regard, we're going to have to let everybody know in the district that we got that. So we'll be sending out notices by the end of the month, indicating that we've had this violation. Realistically, what it was there's supposed to be, I think it's 2 inspections a year, and they could not produce the records that indicated that. But the issue was there was on the top, the lid on one of the tanks, there's a gap in there where a silicone seal had deteriorated. So there was a gap, so something could get in there if they crawled up underneath it, what have you. That was the extent of it. It wouldn't have been a level 2 one had we not missed the inspection. Had we had our regular inspections, it wouldn't have. So all things considered, it sounds really bad because we're gonna have to notify everybody and everything, but in the grand scheme of things, they're relatively minor things, but they still should have been caught. And so we own it.
Bruce,
Yeah.
are we going to be able just to put that on the utility bill that goes out on a monthly thing, or do you have to do a whole nother?
We were trying to do that. We do a postcard. We have to actually send a notice, which is, they have a report generator. So we have to plug in the things, and it's going to say some things that they
Okay.
wanted to say. So no, we wanted to.
Yeah, with the tier 2 violation, the state has some legal jargon that has to go on a paper that gets mailed out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I was
yeah,
hoping.
Okay,
yeah.
so
So,
how
we looked
about,
at it.
how
Pardon me?
about if we include the bill in the envelope of this addressed
Ooh.
form?
I like that if that's possible.
Yeah. Well, I guess that, Jamie, do you think that
It's-
postcard will
It's
fit
an
in there?
option. It's an
Yeah.
option. We share it.
Reverse, do the other way. Okay, well, let's look at that.
My only concern is how many people do the electronic billing.
Got that in her report.
We have probably 353 that are set up for e-bill.
We'll still have to mail it to them, of course.
Right.
Yes.
But-
And if you need help sorting or anything, Jamie, I'll be willing to help.
Thank you.
Lick them,
Thanks.
stick them, whatever.
Yeah, the big thing will be
Appreciate it.
stuffing those envelopes. That's gonna take some time, once we get those things all printed off. Well, depending on how we do all this, but it's still gonna take a lot of hands to get it, because there's gonna be, I'm not sure how many, several hundred. Corey, maybe you know the answer. We've got Mark's checking on this. Do we have to send that to every parcel or everyone who's getting water? Hello?
Pretty much everyone you send a bill to, or anyone that consumes
Water.
water services from the town or the municipality.
Well, then that cuts down the number then dramatically. But we weren't sure. Mark was gonna check with the state to see if it was just that, which sounds like it is, and I'd be happy that would cut down almost in half the number that we'd have to mail out.
If they receive service from Forest Lakes, then they have to get it. If it's just road maintenance, they don't need it.
Excellent. Okay, well, good. Thank you. Appreciate your knowledge on that. Because we weren't 100% sure the way that was worded. Just a couple of things on that. Like one of the violations was on our tanks. One of the screen, the mesh was not fine enough. Well, that was it. Everything's fixed on that now, and at no point I wanted that the water did not meet water quality standards. So everything was good. If the water is just, for the most part, some bookkeeping problems that have, I guess, been going on for about 6-7 years now, as they're discovering, as they're trying to find things and could not. We felt we did do them, but they didn't have the paperwork. They couldn't produce it.
So Bruce, is it something that we have to schedule, or they come to us and schedule it? So we can put it in a calendar that it's like, time to do this.
No, our guys need to have it. They have to have a schedule of, they do inspection, let's say once a month or once a quarter or twice a year. We have to do it.
Okay.
It's spelled out, and they honestly felt they were done, but they cannot find the paperwork that says they did it. And since we couldn't produce it, they can't take our word for it. So hence we're going to pay the price for it. We won't do that again. Trust me. They've revised their standard operating procedures to make sure everything is in there, even on their forms and everything else. So we've taken this very seriously, and this won't happen again, at least as long as I'm here. Enough of that one. We'll move on to our weeds. They're out there doing it. He's been out twice now, spraying to those noxious weeds and just the regular run-of-the-mill weeds, and trying to stay on top of it during spring when they really start sprouting. So if you see him out there, don't be surprised. He's got his light flashing and what have you in that huge tank in the back of his truck. Next item is our emergency generator project. Was happy we got an initial design back from Browns Hill. Rick Johnson, our engineers, looked at it. I've looked at it, and we are thinking we're going to do some modifications or requests from Browns Hill. We're having a meeting Friday with Rick and with the solar panel people and our staff to go over a final recommendations, so we can let Browns Hill know here's where we want the generators and various things. And then they can get us a final design, and then that's something we can take to bid. So we'll hopefully have that done by the end of the month. And maybe in June sometime we can start bidding parts of this project out and get things started, because the sooner the better, I think. Kind of tag along with that, the solar project. I've got them coming Friday with this because they're a participant with the generator thing, because it's very integral to that. And we'll finalize that probably Friday as well. And then they can get underway with that. They're close, but they're missing a few things too that they need, as with the supply chain, it's just really difficult to get things done, not having every single part or piece that you need. So they think that that'll be very soon, but they don't have everything just yet. Next item is our radios or walkie-talkies. We had 7 of them down there in a base station and stuff in the truck, and they weren't working. So finally just had somebody go through reprogramming and figured out that our repeater wasn't working. The power supply was broken. So we got that fixed. So now it works. So we can now talk all over the mountain. We don't have to worry about cell phone coverage or what have you. We have 3 channels. One that runs on the repeater, 2 that are for closer distance if we're working, within, a couple hundred yards of each other, that they can chit chat with each other. We also got the fire department's channel, not only their primary channel, but their backup channel. And on channel 6, we have the weather channel. So that's a big win, I think, in terms of being prepared for anything. And it's just helping the guys out, being able to communicate, and also back to the office, because I have a radio. And I have one in the office with Shauna as well. So that if they need to contact us for something, they can always get us. And it works at the shop as well as anywhere on the mountain. The last thing is
Wait, I'm
Okay.
I'm looking through my notes. I thought we were paying for the guys' cell phones because we didn't have radios. Were we doing that, and will we still do that?
They do get a $20 a month stipend because they use their cell phones quite a bit.
Okay,
Yeah, that'll help. But for most of those guys, they're also, they rotate on call and stuff like that. And radios don't make it home. So they'll need that.
that's fine.
Okay.
So this is a redundancy then.
Well, it's actually, honestly, it's probably a little better because there's a lot of dead spots up on the mountain where you can't call in or out.
Really?
So this is going to be a lot better. You guys are,
Couldn't resist.
you're teasing me, aren't you?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
You
Get
skinny
the new guy.
photo,
Get the new guy. I got it. All right.
The Wild West.
Yeah. All right. Last thing is the Bennett Myers ditch. We were about 4 days late in turning that on due to some of the things having to do with me not understanding what was going on due to some other things clogging the ditch and other things. We've been in contact with all the people that are involved with that, and we got it going the other day. It's flowing, and we've got all the days lined up, and I don't think we'll have this problem again either, now that I understand what's going on, and some of our guys understand as well. So, so far so good, and that's all I have for the moment.
Bruce,
I
were you
have a-
gonna, sorry,
I have a question. I'm sorry,
Yes.
Mike. Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask Bruce if he was gonna mention anything about what's going on with Clark right now.
With what?
With- McCarty, excuse me, I said Clark, McCarty.
Oh,
Is it
I'm
too
not,
soon,
I don't,
or-
I mean, there's some things going on, but I don't feel comfortable with facts at this point in time. So, I mean, I've chatted with them about what's going on over there and what have you, but I don't have a definitive answer on everything, as well as we'll have to negotiate some things with the ditch because they're going across it and wanting to go under it as well. So there'll be several of those sort of things. And well, I will mention that I was looking when Mr. McCarty bought that property, he bought the rights that went with it, which happens to be water and sewer from us, which something we was entered into an agreement back in the, I believe it was in 1979. It ran with the land. We have an opinion from our attorney that says we need to do that. So we will probably be having to do that. So that's some of the negotiations that will have to take place sometime in the next year to iron out all those details, as well as the ditch situation and things like that.
I had a question back on the office building. Did we, last month, it was unfinished business on the road width? Did they come out and fix that?
No. We, real sticky point there. Yeah, I actually had Keith come out to settle this thing up because he had done 99% of this thing. And because I wasn't happy, but reality was what some of the material that was used is how it worked out, was put down apparently. And so we'll widen it with our own. It needs to be wider. We need to be able to get 2-lane truck, but we'll get our guys to do it. We've got the gravel and stuff. We know how to build it. But to answer your question, no.
Okay, so they're paid.
Yep.
Okay, I guess it's time for the office manager administration report.
All righty, I guess that's me.
Yes.
So we sent out approximately 1,000 paper bills, and then we currently have 353 residents set up for e-bill, and about 30 residents are set up for the bank draft. Shauna sent out 21 shut-off notices and was able to collect on all. processed 24 property sales, 7 intents to lien and collected on 5. And she also sent out 55 friendly reminders. As far as Cassell, Shauna's currently working on new, she's getting quotes for the new utility bills because we're going to go to 4 cards to a sheet, so we have less waste. And so she's working with base and printing on that. And then I'm working on ordering new checks that'll work with the Cassell program. Right now, we currently have 3-ply checks, but we're going to move to 2-ply checks. We're having daily correspondence with Cassell and weekly meetings with Invoice Cloud. We're set to go to a pre-live demo training on July 11th through 15th, and then we should be able to go live in August if everything goes as planned. I've been in contact with the auditors and they are still working on the audit and should have it completed by the end of the month. The election went great, and I want to send a thank you to Shauna and our judges, the canvas board, to everyone that took the time to come out and vote. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. We had 127 votes casted. Gwen Unger had 55 votes, Daniel Devojak 12, Stephen Dextel 34, Robin Kissel 82, and Corey Griffiths 65. We spent approximately $1,340. As far as miscellaneous, we did do some updates and some cleanup on our website. We added a tab for road maintenance. I wanted to remind all board members to please stop by the office so that they can sign off on the signature cards for the bank. Anytime we make any changes, we all have to sign again. So,
So
I
we're
know.
there again?
again, yeah, any changes, we all have to sign the paperwork over again.
How
So
soon do you want that done by?
as soon as you can, as soon as you can stop by, that would be great.
Jamie, as of tomorrow, I'm gone. I'm gone for 2.5 weeks. So
Can you pop in tomorrow real quick?
when do you open?
What time do you need me to be
We'll
there?
be there for you. If it needs to be early,
Okay.
we'll get.
I can get there around 8:30.
Okay,
No
Yes,
problem.
okay,
no problem.
all right, thank you.
I'm gonna have to do
Uh-huh.
it tomorrow too, because Thursday I'm leaving and I'll be out of town for a month and a half.
Wow, okay. I'll look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow.
No more changes while I'm gone, right?
Okay, I hope not.
God, yeah, I hope not either.
So the final thing I got down here is I did close the bank account for First Southwest. And I took the money that was left in that account and transferred it over into our operations account. And I collected the funds from the CD and transferred the full amount back into Colorado Trust.
I do have one question for you, Jamie, back on the audit.
Uh-huh.
Have they given you any indication whether there's going to be any findings?
They have not, they're shorthanded and they've really been struggling to work through our audit.
Okay.
And then Jamie, with Cassell, how are we printing the bills? Is it gonna just be on a regular laser printer? We don't have that special big honking machine?
So we're gonna do it similar to the process we're already doing. So a portion of the bill is printed at the printing shop, and then a portion of it we print at the office on our big heavy-duty Xerox.
Oh, okay,
So the new bills will be more on a legal size rather than letter size.
okay. And then how do you do that for the checks? Same thing?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Very good, thank you.
Uh-huh, thank you.
Okay, it looks like it's Trevor's stage.
Hey. All right, yep. So for last month, we started on our spring checklist, which includes a lot of our wastewater equipment as far as our pond covers and our aerators. Did a lot of maintenance on all that. We've been cutting and hauling off some trees that fell down during the winter that are close to the road. So we've been cutting those up and hauling those off, getting those away from the road. And we've been doing continued maintenance on all of our equipment. Seems like something always comes up with some of our equipment, so we got constant maintenance on that. We've been cleaning out some of our big main culverts on some of our main roads, just to help with drainage and to kind of keep the water from creeping in and running down the middle of our roads.
So Trevor, when you clean those culverts out, are you also making sure the ditches are deep enough and that they can't run over the roads?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
And in some cases, it's kind of hard to do that, but we're making it happen as best we can.
All right.
Let's see, and then we started to clean out the head gate for the Bennett and Myers ditch. When we had to turn on the water, it was pretty plugged up, so we had to go out there and get that all cleaned up. We had a couple sewer fixes that we had to do. One on San Moritz, which was a service line, and we also had a repair to do on Alpine, which was part of our main. We got that all taken care of, and been continuing our road maintenance, blading the roads and putting dust control down. We also had some, like Bruce said, we had some meetings with a solar company, and then also with our irrigation for our ditch water. We've been continuing to burn slash as much as we can. It's kind of been hard lately with all the wind that's been kicking up, so we haven't been able to do much of it, but we're trying as much as we can. And we noticed that our slash pile is getting pretty large. And
yeah, Trevor, let me say real quick.
Yes, sir.
As long as you're on that topic, I was talking to the fire department today about that because our pile's getting huge. And since it's been windy, we haven't I don't think we run it all week, and probably not hardly at all last week.
Last week, yeah.
Because of the wind situation. And so we had that discussion about when we can and can't, what have you. And we have some special dispensation because of the equipment we're using. We're out of abundance of caution. We decided that if the wind's blowing at 15 miles, more than 15 miles an hour, I mean steady, that we're not going to, or that we have gusts over 20, that we're just not going to do it. Ultimately, what that'll end up doing, possibly, if the wind doesn't start dying down soon, is we may have to shut that slash pile down for drop off because it's getting immense at the moment. Now, the sort of good news is we think Thursday we should get a little respite, and if that's the case, we will be on it first thing in the morning, and the same thing Friday, so that we can hopefully clear some space for the weekend. But just wanted to put that out there that there's a possibility, if weather doesn't cooperate, that we might have to shut that down because the pile is getting very, very large, and we're just not going to risk shooting some embers up in the sky and possibly causing a fire. It's just not in the cards for us.
And Bruce, I
Yes, ma'am.
remember in the past when the wind dies down, there's been times where the slash piles got out of control and the fire department was able to come over and burn it for us.
Yes, they mentioned that, and that's an option. It also creates a really big mess for us afterwards too. But we could, we'll make it work one way or the other. But I guess the point being is that we need to be very careful in these conditions right now, and we're trying to be. And like I said, we think we're going to be able to start Thursday morning, but we can't, we're not, we don't exactly know what the wind's gonna be, but we know what level we're not going to, or will burn or won't burn, as the case may be.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. We're glad people are mitigating,
Yes,
but we definitely understand about the caution with the winds.
okay. Go ahead, Trevor. Sorry.
No problem. Let's see. And then we did, like Bruce mentioned, we started doing our main line extension on Snowbird. And that's been going pretty good so far. So we're hoping to continue with that and get that done hopefully within next month or so. So
Bruce mentioned you ran into a problem or two, but you were able to work around them. What kind of problems did we run into?
yeah, so off of our old drawings that we have, we didn't know exactly where the end of our water line and our sewer line were. So we had to do some digging, and I mean, we were just kind of pretty much digging blind, but we were able to find both of those safely. So, and then we've also been doing a whole bunch of locates. A lot of 811 calls have been coming in the past month there. So, and as far as our status of our vehicle fleet, everything's finally all up and running. All of our dump trucks are finally up and running, so we're good to go on all of our equipment there. And as far as our safety incidents, we're still incident free.
So Trevor, I don't know if it's a question for you or if it's a question for Bruce, but where are we with regards to that plow truck we were planning on buying this year?
Well, I'll take it.
Okay.
Actually, nowhere. I'll just be honest. It's just a matter of priorities. I mean, we're going to get to it, but there's been a variety of other things that I felt were more important that we needed to deal with at this point. We're definitely going to get there, but there's other things.
Okay.
That this thing came up, and I'm learning a lot still, so I'm dragging things down a little bit because of my learning curve. But well, to answer your question, we haven't done anything on it yet.
Oh, that's fine. Okay, I was just curious.
Yep.
Thank you, Trevor. Good job to the guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, Bruce, did you want to take that financial report?
Yeah. As I noted, I kind of didn't do all the line by line item thing. I kind of gave a much higher level view of our financial situation, but I'll make a couple of notes beforehand. For the numbers I'm going to give you tonight, we didn't have our property tax allocation in yet at the time that we did this report. And so that is skewing things a bit. We actually did get it in, and we're actually now in the positive, but it doesn't reflect on this. So I just make that note. Let me flip over. Well, let me do the water real quick. We pumped just a little over 4 million gallons of water between our 4 wells, and up just a little bit from last month at 3.9. But that's in line as the temperature heats up and more people are coming out and what have you. So I think we're completely in line with that. I don't think there's any issues there. On the financial side, our general fund, this would be from year to date, or to May 6th anyway. General fund revenues of $343,733, and we had expenses of $390,257. So that put us behind about 46,524. He said that's all caught up now, but also a part of that is we paid off the building and our contractor. So that was a big chunk of money that isn't normally spent, as well as the property tax not being in, but that's also come back around now. So we're doing okay. The water fund revenues of $261,791 and expenses of $288,611 for a minus $26,820. Sewer fund revenues of 211, 274, with expenses of 219, 471, and that puts us down about 8,179. So overall, we had revenues in all three funds 816, 799, and expenses of 899, 680, and net that out, it's negative 81,541. That number is now in the positive, as I said, as we got our property tax in. And then, as noted, we have $1,262,443 in the bank.
Bruce, do we need to look at the time range or the date range that we're running that report for so that we're comparing apples and apples?
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to bring up. If once we get the new committee selected, I was going to say, I'll just run those reports on the first of every month. So we capture a month, a real month, and I can do 1/12 and we can compare where we are. Because this skews this off by 6 days. And so I think I'll start doing that. And even though your meeting might be 10 days afterwards, you'll still see what it was for the previous month. Just the month, not an extra week,
Right.
Not 5 weeks or what have you. So that's what I plan on doing. And then I can put it on a sheet where I can show you 1/12 where we should be, assuming all things being equal, which it's not, but it's where we should be, generally speaking. Because those property taxes come in and it's not consistently the same number. It varies. And so we don't know until we get it what it's actually going to be. And any other questions on that? I can maybe help you, or Jamie, because she's on there too.
No, that's fine. That makes perfect sense. I'm glad you were looking at that, because if we're trying to add that extra weekend and we haven't got the tax receipts, it makes it really tough to tell what the bottom line is. So if we're doing it, like you said, as of the first of the month, so we get month end, that makes perfect sense. So.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, I'll do that starting for the next meeting. I'll run that on June 1st before any transactions are done for all of May.
Okay, so I guess we're on to unfinished business. In-person board meetings. Does anybody have any additional information on that?
Yes, I'll give you one and Jamie's going to give you the other. I contacted the city of Bayfield about that possibility, and they were willing. Unfortunately, when we got right down to it, when we needed it on our Tuesday night, they have their facility rented out every single Tuesday. So it's just not even available. Even if we wanted to do it, they go, well, you'd have to change your day because whatever group is in there has it every single Tuesday night. Additionally, they would be charging us as well. So there was two things on that. So that's where that one stands. So that one's just out unless we were willing to change the days of our board meetings.
So I guess we might want to discuss this right now so we can either do something with us and move on down the road. I don't want to just keep kicking this down the road as unfinished business. Last time when we talked about this last month, one of the residents made a comment that she didn't see that it made sense to go down to Bayfield to have a meeting because how many people would do it? It's more convenient for most people to do it on Zoom. So unless we can come up with something here in Forest Lakes, it almost seems like there's not much point in trying to do an in-person meeting. Does anybody else have any feelings about that?
Yeah, I don't see any advantage other than I know Jim Squires wants it in person to have an in-person meeting. If someone wants to contradict me, fine, but this works. People show up, they don't show up unless they don't have a computer. It works for me. I'd rather it not be in person, just personally.
Robin or Corey, do either of you have any thoughts on this?
I prefer in-person meetings versus computers because my internet don't always work at my house.
Okay,
I mean, what's all wrong with the community center? I don't know. Is that a viable solution in the meantime until we find a better place?
That's one of those things we're gonna have to start addressing. We may want to put that on the agenda for next month. But we need to get back to that. We had an engineering report done over a year ago. And it said to make it safe and to make it all good, it was going to be something like $275,000 or $76,000, somewhere in that range. Even just to make it safe, maybe we wouldn't have to do everything, but we need to go back and revisit that report and see if there's any options. It's-
I don't think there's internet up there though.
There-
So if we-
There's Visionary is up at the old rec center.
Okay,
And then I was also gonna offer if Corey would like to come to the office to use the internet there for the Zoom. I could go there as well because it cuts in and out at my house as well. So that's an option.
I kind of
Well,
like the thought that anybody that wants to meet in person, if certain board members want to meet in person, the board members can meet down there with Jamie. There's not room for the public in that conference room. But some of us could go down there and at least then we get some of the personal and we can, I think there's advantages to us meeting in person and having the chance to chat a little bit. And I mean, it's a lot less personal. It's a little harder to interact on Zoom. So I like in-person meetings also, but we're challenged right now until we can find a better meeting space. I think meeting in Bayfield is probably a non-starter because I don't think residents are going to want to drive down there in the evening after they just get home and they're eating dinner and then have to drive down there for a couple hours and drive back. So I think we're left with Zoom in some capacity. But I mean, if we could do it and anyone who wants to be in person at the office, would that work, Bruce? Do we know what kind of equipment we would need for that, or Jamie?
I think we could make that work. It certainly would be easier too when I have documents that need signatures. We could get that done at the same time as well.
Right. And that's
Robin?
not far for anybody.
Yeah, I'm not sure what would be involved on that at this point. I have to look at, but I'll put it on the agenda and I'll obviously do some work before we do it to kind of figure out what take. I'm guessing we'd need some kind of cameras, microphones, and some kind of way to broadcast that. Just off the top of my head, but because I don't think the computers would work as well for a group that might be in that conference room.
Well, maybe you guys can talk with the IT guy and
Yep.
maybe he can come over and demo something for you. And maybe that'll
Yep.
give us kind of a data point.
Yeah, I'll absolutely do that. He's a very bright young man, I'll tell you that. So I'm sure he's got some ideas. The question is how much it's going to cost, and so we'll look at that too.
Okay. And in the meantime, Corey, if you feel like you need to go down to the office so that you can have good connection, get with Jamie and the two of you can work that.
Yeah, but it's not just me. I mean, it's the public as well that are having the issues.
Well,
so you think, Corey, people would show up in person?
That is my hope, yes. If we gave them a spot closer to home to do it versus having to drive 15, 20 minutes to a meeting, I think we'd get better attendance, but you've been on this board longer than I have, so you know a little bit more about it than I do.
The stats don't show it. They really don't. During the day, we got maybe 20 people total counting the board. At night, we got the same people showing up just at night and grumping because it's, like me, it's past my bedtime. So it didn't show it. the biggest crowd we ever had was 2 elections ago. And we
Yes.
had 80 people in the community center. And they all say they're interested. I'll come, I'll show up. The numbers are not there. The numbers are not there. It's summer, it's beautiful out. Whether it's a rainy day, whether it's a beautiful day, people have excuses, they just don't show up. Jamie could tell us how many people even look at the minutes or look at the recorded Zoom meeting. We had people running for the board that I never saw them at a meeting. So there's just, unless something is drastically happening, you're not going to get the interest. You see that, I see the same names. I write them down every month. I see the same names. So that's the facts. I think Robin even said that she was hoping that more people, as it gets known that we're in the evenings now. But look at today. Oh my gosh.
13. Yeah, there's only
Yeah.
13 today.
I think that's the worst.
And that half of it us.
Yeah, well, the
Yes.
majority are us.
Yeah.
I think all of what you've said with everyone is true. The idea of us meeting in Bayfield, I think that's out. If we can meet here in Forest Lakes like we did at the rec center, that worked out nice because we were all together and stuff like that. But until that's up and running or we've got some place that we can go, that's not going to happen. Zoom is a wonderful thing because we can at least have the meetings, but I would be supportive for us all to get together if at all possible, but until we get like the rec center or some other place where we can have public go, it's really not advantageous.
So
And
let me ask,
I'm going to give you the option of maybe the board meets at 6:45 and Jamie doesn't allow the public in until 7 o'clock. And we can talk, we can, get to know each other better, discuss, what do you think about this? What do you think, beforehand? And then at 7, we let the public in.
I'm
I
not
don't know
sure
if
if you
Jamie
can do
did
that. I don't think you can. Open
Well-
meeting.
She lets people in.
No, right.
No?
I can hold everybody in waiting and then allow them to come in once it's 7 o'clock. Because I've just been allowing them to come in as they pop up on my screen, but I can hold them in waiting.
yeah, we just can't make decisions. We can't discuss any substantive
Right.
business. In the meantime, as soon as she lets the public in, then we can start the meeting. We can actually start doing business. So that's the part we just have to be careful of that. It's just going to be social, basically, for the first few minutes. Like you said, get to know everybody. I like the idea.
Agree.
As long as we keep it social.
I have a question for Jamie. I don't know if you would know yet, Bruce. Jamie, is that report still available online somewhere, that report that they did on the rec center? The engineering report?
I do believe it's still on there. If not, I can look for it.
Could you just send a email to everybody, especially to Corey? Robin may have seen a copy, I'm not sure. But could you make sure they have seen a copy, either forward the copy to them or send them a link so that they can view it? Because
Certainly.
that's really kind of key. If we're going to do something with the rec center, we have to figure out what's possible, if anything's even possible.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Yes, please.
Right now, Corey, it's winterized. So there's no water. If we
Yeah.
have a public meeting there, we have to have the bathrooms open.
Mhm.
The electricity, the heater would make this awful noise that you couldn't talk above, which was nice, you got heat. But
But we had to turn it off.
yes,
talk.
because it was so loud.
Yeah, I understand it needs repaired before we even approach that avenue.
Yeah.
I just feel like the more we could do to try to entice the public to come to the meetings,
Sure.
the better.
Great idea. I I think you're real positive, and that's terrific.
Well,
Okay.
and
I try to
there
be.
was, there was the idea that when there's something substantial, like for instance, when we had the sheriff come out here and talk about the speeders and stuff like that, then it brought people to the meetings. But if it's just the, you know, run of the mill kind of meeting, a lot of folks aren't interested so much unless it affects them, which everything does, but no,
And
not so much.
that's every board meeting I've ever been in. You
Sure,
get the select few.
absolutely. I'm just saying, costing the district money for upkeep, for repairs, for upkeep, and then, just, you know, we gotta pull out the chairs and pull out the tables, and then everyone leaves. It's like a few are left to put them all back, you know?
And it was usually the board members that did that,
Yeah.
and a couple of the
locking it
media
up.
guys. Yeah,
Yeah, it's just, this to me is just so much easier. And I hate that you think people aren't coming because they don't have the computer capacity, you know, to do that. But they can go at some point to the website and look at the recording and read the minutes, because Jamie does a exceptional job on the minutes.
yes.
But
I agree with that.
but the interest there isn't. So,
Well, if I could ask everybody to look at their report or review the report before the next meeting, if we could have that on the agenda, then we can at least see if there's any possibilities to do anything with rec center. And maybe instead of kicking that rec center thing on down the road like we've been doing, maybe we can come up with a plan of attack to take care of the problem in some fashion.
You
I don't know what the
Mark,
right answer is.
Okay.
I was thinking, another issue too with the rec center was if we were to have evening meetings, it wasn't adequately lit, the parking area and
Lighting.
such. Yeah,
well,
Yeah,
I think the original thing what we were going to do is fix the steps and entrance.
right, with gravel or
I
something.
don't think that was done.
No,
no, nothing was ever done.
I'm looking through my notes to how long ago did we talk about this?
because there was tripping hazards.
Yeah,
So instead of concrete, we were discussing putting gravel or
Yeah.
something similar to that down.
and I don't think it's in our budget anymore.
No, it's not currently in the budget.
Yeah.
And
to get it
I
fixed.
mean, there's still the structural issues too. So even if we fixed some of the safety issues, we still have to worry about the structural issues.
True.
Okay. Any more discussion on that at the moment?
So it sounds like we'll just continue to do the Zoom until we do some more research or something changes down the line. Just continue to do the Zoom, right?
Yeah, it seems like the only near-term possibility is if we're meeting in person down at the office and zooming everybody else in. That's the only other alternative, I think.
I think you're right.
Okay,
Okay.
so I've got April 2020 meeting when we started talking about the community building. So if that helps you, Jamie, looking for that report.
Okay, if there's nothing else on that for the time being, then I guess the next item was the sign for the office. I noticed you got that up, Bruce.
Yeah, I put that in there. I mean, honestly, I checked, Mindy sent some stuff over and I looked at it briefly, but I didn't do a lot. So I'm leaving it on there because it's as a placeholder because I haven't done enough. But there was a discussion amongst staff about the location. If we do a reader board, maybe putting it near the entrance between the two roads coming in. So as you're coming in, no matter which one you take, you could see it versus at right at the new office, where only once half of it might see it. So that was another thought we were kicking around, but hadn't done too much. We're also looking at trying to see if we could do a solar sign. I don't know if that's possible versus having to pull electricity in as well. But I don't have much to report to you on that. I haven't done a lot of work because I mean, we need something, but at the same time, some of the other things we're doing, I only have so much bandwidth to be able to deal with. So I didn't do a lot on that, but just a little bit.
Okay, so specifically, that's a placeholder for the reader sign then?
Yeah.
Okay,
And probably a sign that we'll probably have to, at a minimum, have to put something in the front of the building that it says, you know, it's Forest Lakes and the address right somewhere near the road. The reader board thing is an idea. There's some that aren't too awfully expensive. Like I said, like around $800, but got to see how they work in terms of how you can program them. Wi-Fi, you got to hardwire it in. How does that work? How do you power it? What kind of base and foundation? And there's a few things that we need to really understand before we try and go down that road and make a decision.
all right. So I see that you have item C, Verizon cell tower. Do you have an update on that?
Yeah, but nothing real exciting. I got on their website and did what they said to do, and I also called and you know, got transferred around a bunch and left all my information and have not received anything back from them at all. So that was probably 3 or 4 days after the last meeting. If somebody knows somebody there, I would please let me know. I'll call them and try and work it out. But it's a massive bureaucracy there, and it's hard to break through.
So
We're still trying.
Is that something that somebody from the board could help you with? Is
Only if we, I mean, want to do what I did, you know, keep calling or checking it. But realistically, if somebody knows somebody that we could maybe get to the right person, it's trying to find the right person, because I never got to the right person. They kept transferring me, and then I had to finally leave a message, as well as on the website, which is supposed to go to the right person. But if it did, they've not gotten back to me, and I don't know. They don't tell you who it is, so I can't even go back and try and contact them myself.
okay, so Robin and Corey, do you know what we're talking about?
Yeah, sorta. To put a cell tower here in Forest Lakes, correct, on our property?
Yeah, Mandy had suggested maybe we could do that and it could be a win-win. You know, that may be something they would pay us to put the cell tower on our property, and it would help all the residents and give them better signal coverage, potentially, depending upon where they put it. And so we wanted to explore the possibility. And so as you can hear, Bruce has been getting the runaround so far.
Is Mandy still available for us to contact? Did she have somebody that she knew of?
I
She-
don't think so, but I think it was her idea, I think.
Yeah, it was
But-
just an idea that she had. I don't think she had a contact. So I think it's a
help
good
you out.
idea.
Yeah,
But I mean, Bruce can only do so much stuff too. So that's why I kind of thought, I don't know if there's anybody on the board that would be willing to try to make some phone calls and see if we can come up with something. Like I say, I'm leaving Thursday, and I'm going to be gone for a month and a half. So it would be hard for me.
I might have a contact in Verizon that could probably get me in the right direction.
Cool. You willing to explore that, Corey?
Yeah, I'll explore and see if
Awesome.
I can't get a hold of somebody.
Great. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay. Yeah, is Derek on yet?
No, Derek did not make it. I'm afraid if he's not made it by now, he's not going to wind up being
Yeah.
on. So that's,
Well, this is something that he kind of thought some people were talking to him about it, so he asked me to put it on there. So this is the Frisbee golf in the common area. I guess there's some there now, some of those little goals, and some like it, some don't. Some, I guess, are getting on people's private property, and so you wanted to have a little discussion about that. I don't know if he had a direction on that, because I wasn't quite sure what he wanted to do with it. So with him not being here, I don't know if you want to just defer that or you want to talk about it, it's either way, I guess up to you.
Unless somebody else knows what he wanted to discuss, I think we have no choice but to defer it.
Okay.
Okay, so we're at new business. Obviously, the new board members, we know who they are. So I don't know that any further introduction is needed. So we have the positions of president, vice president, and treasurer that need to be filled. I believe those are required positions. And then the treasurer is typically the head of the budget committee. And then we've got a recreation committee and a personnel committee. So what I'd kind of like to do is just open up for a little bit of discussion. I'd like to know what positions people think they would like to serve on. I did talk with Derek earlier today. Derek said he is overwhelmed with his new job. He said he could not be president, even though he's current vice president. He said he would be willing to continue to be the vice president unless somebody else would rather fill that position. Short of that, Carissa, I kind of think with your accounting background and the fact that you've been on the budget committee, you might be the ideal person to be the treasurer.
Except I won't give him my information. There's too much information out there, so I'm not even a signer.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand what you said.
I said I'm not even a signer because you asked for too much information. And
He's talking
I don't
about
feel
the bank
comfortable.
account.
Oh,
So I cannot be the treasurer.
oh, okay.
It's just a personal thing. You get your social security number out there.
I understand.
I don't want that.
Okay. So does anybody want to be? the
Robin's
president?
thinking.
I'd be whatever. I don't have a problem with them having my social security number for the most part. But Clarissa, I would really like you to stay like on the budget committee or something like that and maybe help. I'd be glad to sign if that's the issue, but I would like your expertise.
Yeah, I'm fine on the budget committee. It worked out. Mark and I, great if he wants to continue. I feel
That'd be
very
great.
comfortable. I feel comfortable doing that.
What exactly does the treasurer do besides like oversee the budget? From what I've read out of this packet.
That's the primary thing, but then if there is something that requires a treasurer's signature, the treasurer would have to provide a signature. Every month at the meeting, the treasurer typically is the one that offers us,
Disbursements.
the disbursements. We have to sign disbursements. And the treasurer and budget committee, when it comes time to start developing the budget for the next year, there's a lot of work to go through the budget, to work with the manager, to take a look at things, make sure we've got the right priorities in the budget, that we're looking for ways to economize and make it most effective and efficient. And so the treasurer is kind of a formal position, but the budget committee is really what it's all about.
And I mean, we look at the budget just because I'm always nosy and I check numbers. But it's usually just like the 3 months at the end of the year, beginning of the year, that the budget committee really does a lot of work.
Yep. Okay, and and we're gonna have to have a president too. So
I think, Mark, you're self-nominating yourself.
I was
I
just
don't
thinking
really-
the same thing.
I don't really want to be the president, but that's why Derek called me today. He
Okay.
wanted to call and push me to do that because he said he can't do it. And so the only other person that might be interested would be Robin. So I'm curious, Robin, if
I will be whatever position you guys think I would best be in. I mean, if you would like to be the treasurer, I will be the president, or you be the president and I'll be the treasurer, whatever. You know, Corey, you too, if you want to jump in there. Chris.
I'll be the non-official secretary because I take notes anyway. So if Jamie's not
You know,
there,
that could be
I
a
got
backup.
this book that I've had
Okay.
years worth of notes.
I love that idea.
Okay.
You know, I guess I'll just offer myself up. I'll say, I don't really want to be the president. I never wanted to be the president. But I think it's unfair to ask, even though you've been on the board before, Robin, I think it's unfair to ask you to step right in and be the president. So maybe next time around, you can be the president. You might be a good president. But if you guys are okay with it, I'll self-nominate for the president position.
Shoot,
You've
I'll
done a
nominate
great
you for
job.
president.
I'm sorry.
In past, you've done a great job, Mark. I think
Yes.
you'd be terrific.
Thank you.
In fact, I'll nominate you, Mark, to be the president.
I'll second.
Okay. Well, so I guess we take a
All
vote.
in
on
favor?
All in
Aye.
favor?
that. Okay.
Aye.
I'll do that. I would like to, even though Derek is not here, Derek told me
Renee?
today that he would be willing to continue as the vice president. Unless somebody has a desire to be the vice president, I'll nominate Derek to continue to be the vice president if everyone. I mean,
I'll second that.
okay,
I,
okay. Corey?
Aye.
Okay, so Derek will be the vice president. Now we need to select a treasurer. Robin, you've expressed an interest in it. Corey, are you interested in being in the treasurer position?
I am. I'm fine either way.
That's fine.
Well,
Well, and we'll help each other out too. So anything anybody needs help with,
Right.
I would love to help anybody out. So yeah, Corey, if you want to be treasurer, that's fine, or I'll be treasurer. I'm good with either way.
I'll take it on.
okay.
so Corey, you think you're going to have time when it comes budget time to be sitting down and meeting with Bruce and Carissa to go through the budget? Are you going to be able to get off
Yeah.
to meet during the day potentially, or?
I should be able to meet during the day. This year might be a little difficult because I have a newborn coming here real soon. But as long as I don't interfere with preparing my budget for town of Bayfield, I think we'll be all right.
And you could bring the baby to the office. Put he or she in the bucket right there and no big deal. Usually the meetings aren't long.
No, I think I'll be able to cut some time in to meet during the day. If
So-
anything, it'll be towards the end of the day if that works, but
Sure.
We'll make
So
it work.
Robin, are you good with that?
I am good with that.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that Corey be elected the treasurer.
Second,
I'll second that.
Okay,
I,
okay. So Corey, I'm assuming you vote for yourself. So, okay, you're the treasurer. So, yeah, next month then you will read the bottom line of the disbursements. You'll see how I do it tonight. I'll do it tonight. And you'll be responsible for that. In addition, working with Chris on the budget. So as they bring Cassell up to speed, I think you guys are going to have some work to do to work with Bruce and Jamie to come up with some standardized reports that will be helpful to the board and to the Metro office. And, we can have some discussions about it at that time. I would love to see some graphs that give me in a pictorial, just real quick, what the budget's looking like. That shows me trends and stuff too. But you guys will be responsible for digging into some of the detail. Okay,
absolutely.
so now we've got the elected positions selected. Now, well, and we've already, I guess, determined that Carissa and Corey are the budget committee. Let me jump ahead to the personnel committee. Robin, would you be willing to help me with that?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Because over this past year, I spent 8 or 9 months a lot of hours, a lot of long days, a lot of interviews, a lot of, putting
Yes.
questions together. And that doesn't always happen, but when something comes up, when there's a personnel issue, we really need somebody who can commit and can step in and do that stuff. As part of the personnel committee, I helped interview for the attorney. It would have been nice to have some help for that. So
Yeah.
if you're good with that, I'm gonna nominate Robin as the other member of the personnel committee.
And I volunteer, yes. Yes,
Is there a second?
Second,
Second.
Okay, so both of you are agreeing then, so I guess it's unanimous. Robin's gonna be working with me on the personnel committee. Oh, she's gonna be on the personnel committee. Excuse me, I guess I should. I would like to be on the personnel committee too, so I guess I need to self-nominate.
I second that, Mark.
Okay,
aye.
Aye.
all right, so we will be the personnel committee. So now we need a recreation committee. I know that Derek has been on the recreation committee. He has some continuity there. I think he's good at networking and talking to people in the neighborhood. Would anybody else like to work with him on the recreation committee?
I nominate Corey. I only say that because he has kids. I think that they'll enjoy the recreation stuff around. His
Are you
input would
interested,
be very
Corey?
valuable.
Sure.
And Corey, don't like,
Just
it's-
say no,
it's
Corey.
It's more coming up with ideas and, talking to your neighbors and friends and your kids when they go to school and stuff. What would they be interested in? The guys in the shop do the work. Trevor does the work. We
Oh,
just
yeah,
come up with
yeah.
these crazy ideas.
The
And-
trail around the lake, swings.
Yeah,
Yeah, just that kind of stuff is what they do. I could see you being more active in that, but just say no if you don't want to.
Oh, no, my idea of recreation is camping and fishing, so.
well, when the lake comes back, we want to do something with fishing, so that's perfect.
We do have fishing.
The main thing I've seen with the recreation committee in the 2 years I've been on the board is networking with neighbors, just chatting with neighbors and say, what would you like to see? I mean, Derek and Mandy came up with some good ideas, and we got some good stuff done over the past couple of years as a result. So I think just chatting to people and bringing ideas to the board, I think that's what we're really looking at. So this shouldn't take a lot of your time.
Can we come back to it?
Corey, I'll volunteer for
Okay.
it.
Well,
Okay,
Robin's jumping up. Corey's not sure. So how about
Okay.
I nominate Robin?
I'll jump up for it.
I'll second.
Okay. Corey, you in favor?
Yes.
Okay. Robin, so you're on the recreation.
I'm on
committee.
it.
Derek.
Rec and personnel, I'm on them. You got it.
Thank you very much. Okay, does that take care of all the positions? I think it
I
does.
think so.
The last thing that we had under new business is we wanted to chat a little bit about the attorney that we are recommending. So Jamie or Bruce, would either of you want to kind of pipe up?
Yeah, I'll kind of chime in. I did just a little staff report here just so we could have the little history in terms of how we got to where we are right now. Jeff actually, or I guess still technically is our attorney. Before I even got here, I guess indicated that he wanted to retire. And so Keith had asked him for recommendations. And then when I got here, I talked with him about it. And he ended up giving us 5 names of places, of potential attorneys that he thought would be a good fit. And I took that and I called them all and contacted them. Out of that list of 5, 3 got back to me and 2 never even to this day have ever gotten back to me. So that narrowed it down to 3 quickly. And that's when last meeting I had those 3 lined up and I want to know how you want to interview them. And so we did. We set up interviews, and ultimately only 2 of them could actually interview. The other one was just too busy. He didn't have the time to do it, and so we actually interviewed two candidates. And I think the 3 of us that were involved in that thought they were both actually quite good. But ultimately, we felt that one was a little better than the other that fit for us. And so we're recommending that Paul Kosnick be the district's attorney. And we've attached a contract there that lays out the terms and conditions for it. It's a relatively short one, to be honest. And Paul has a fair amount of experience. He worked at the county, which I think will be an advantage for us because we've got some things that are probably going to be coming up with the county in the not too distant future. And all around, he's worked for other special districts. And so he's I think, a really good fit. We liked his answers. He was very composed, thoughtful in his answers. And I think he was, I would say, was a little on the conservative side, which I personally like. I don't like him out leading the charge. But he said he was willing to take direction that whatever the board wanted. And just to be clear, the attorney does work for the board, not for the manager. Hence, that's why you're getting to vote on this and not me. Paul's compensation was $225 an hour, billing at 6-second increments. He has 2 paralegals, one's at $75 an hour, one's at $100, which was very competitive. So that was another bonus, I think, on to his side of the equation as well. And I think with that, if you have any questions, certainly Mark or I or Jamie, who was there during the interviews, could help answer any of those questions.
Yeah, I would like to just throw my 2 cents in too, that, yeah, he also has some land use background. So a lot of the things that we have to deal with here in the metropolitan district, Paul has some direct experience with. The other guy has lots of water rights experience. He didn't have quite as much land use experience, did not have the county experience, as I recall. So he was an engineer before he became an attorney. So he has a technical background, and he would have been good. We liked him too. He was very personable, but we just thought that Paul really was a better fit. So we unanimously, all 3 of us felt the same way. We all felt Paul was the best option. So if you have any other specific questions, like Bruce said, maybe we can answer them for you.
Well, did I hear you right? He has land use and water rights?
He does not have as much water rights background. That's the one area that he is a little weak, but he said, I know people that work water rights. If I get in over my head on something other than basic water rights, he said, I'll reach out to somebody else.
I
Anybody?
trust you, Mark and Bruce and Jamie, and thank you for your extra effort on this.
Okay, well, then we are recommending him. I guess we need to vote on whether or
Yes.
not we're going to accept Paul as our new attorney. And so I would like to make a motion that we sign a contract with Paul Kosnick to be our Metro staff attorney. Any
Second.
seconds? Okay. So
Aye.
Corey seconded, Carissa and Robert are in favor. Okay, so it's unanimous. All right, so I guess who needs to sign that contract, Bruce? Is that you? Or does the treasurer need to sign that?
No, we're going to need to have one of the board members, I guess, probably, well, no, we have a new president. You're going to sign it.
So I need to sign that then?
Yeah, so if you're going to come in tomorrow, then we'll have you sign this one too,
Okay,
because I have,
I will do that.
okay, perfect.
All right,
Oh, we don't have any resolution.
so we're down to resolutions unless anybody has anything else.
No, and there are no,
Okay, so the only resolution we have in today is the resolution. I make a motion that we approve the expenses for the Metro District from April 13th through May 6th in the amount of $155,916.43.
Actually, Corey as treasurer should do that.
Yes, well, yeah, he's welcome to do it. I just told him this time around I would do
Oh,
that
okay.
unless you would rather
Yeah.
do that, Corey.
Oh, no, it's fine if you're doing it this go around. I just wanted to see how it was done, but I do have a couple questions.
Okay,
Who's Dorian, Romero, Elizabeth Collins? Are those contractors or do they provide a service?
No, those are reimbursements
Okay.
to residents. So they sold their property, and then when the money came in from the title company, they had already made a payment. So we're just reimbursing them.
That makes perfect sense. Thank you.
You're
any other
welcome.
questions there, Corey?
I am good.
Okay,
I make a motion that we approve the disbursements as listed.
Second,
I
aye. Okay, so it's approved unanimously. Okay, I show that it's 8:37 and I make a motion, we adjourn.
second,
Okay, well, thank you very much, everybody. Again, Corey and Robin, welcome to the team.
Well
congratulations.
done.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yes, thank you, everyone.
Yep, so I will see you from the road next meeting.
Oh, are you gonna be from the road? Okay.
Yeah, I'll be in my RV somewhere.